And then this breath of fresh Minnesota air came blowing in with Jeff and Lynn O'Grady, and everything changed. And I felt like someone is in charge who cares more about looking out into the community, and not just the church community, but the greater community. He cared less about himself and more about everybody else. And the same thing with Lynn. She was always wanting to engage, how are you doing? And you could feel it.
Thanks to Jeff's wonderful foresight and in creating such a cohesive staff environment that he has worked very diligently at and has been very successful. I also think that he has done a wonderful job in his preaching. It's excellent preaching. And not only that, but he works very hard at making sure that our worship planning is very finely tuned and executed.
When I think about Jeff and Lynn's legacy and, kind of where we are as a church today, the things that stand out to me are that we're very solid and very well founded. We have a really strong foundation, and I think Jeff and Lynn were both very key in terms of getting us to that point, both in terms of financial stability and organizational stability. I just think that they've put us in a good place to be very well positioned to have flexibility for moving into the future and being successful.
For us as the Presbytery of San Gabriel, I have found Jeff to be a very gentle and constant and consistent leader, and I believe that he is retiring at a time when San Marino has shown how strong the church is.
Certainly what's been most fulfilling to me has been the relationships that we've been able to enjoy here. We didn't know anybody, really, except the search committee when we arrived in San Marino. And so the relationships that have deepened and broadened throughout the years has just been remarkable. I get invited into, or we both do, to the sacred spaces in people's lives, where Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, don't store up your treasure on earth where moth and rust can destroy and thieves can break in. Store your treasure in heaven. I have a new appreciation for what the Lord was talking about there, because we have such great, loving relationships with people throughout the age spectrum, and that feels like treasure in heaven, because nothing can take that away.
You just don't get to be a legend unless you have the leadership skills and the love of people. And when you talk to him, you think he's only interested in you and hearing your problems. But you need a good teammate, and that's where Lynn comes in.
I think we've become a healthy family system. I think the church, as I think I understand, went through some difficulties in the years before Jeff arrived. But now, due to Jeff and Lynn, we have become a welcoming family. We are a family more diverse than we were when they first arrived. And I think their spirit of welcoming has made us more welcoming.
Well, I just think the church is much more vibrant. It has become so because of Jeff's leadership, and Lynn too. And I think that will be leaving us in a good place.
So anyone who has worshiped with Lynn in the sanctuary knows that she sings harmony. And one of the challenges of ministry is that, we don't get to actually worship with one another sitting in the same pew. But she loves to sing harmony, and she can find the harmony in any piece of music. So it's worked really well, because I've been able to do the melody and she has done the harmony, and this team spirit has worked throughout our 41 years of marriage. I can't thank Lynn enough for the support that she's given me to be able to do what I do.
Jeff often says I get more done by accident than most people do on purpose. And I love to work. And so what I've really appreciated, not only about Jeff, but also the church community, is that the whole time I've been here, I've been a working spouse and given my life to the students with whom I've worked. And so I appreciate his support in that, knowing that this is what I love to do and that is my ministry. And the ways that I've been able to support him in the church too is basically through the educational component of the church, and have really enjoyed being part of that.
This year, as the foundation board was considering what we were going to have as the focus for our annual legacy campaign, it was really no question. As we're reflecting on 15 years of ministry with Jeff and Lynn O'Grady, legacy is one of the first words that comes to mind. So when they announced their retirement, a small group of donors established a fund in their honor, and Jeff has been working with Reverend Jessica Von Lower and the church leadership to really craft the vision. And we're so excited about this because it builds on everything that Jeff and Lynn have laid a foundation for in their ministry, but it also propels us into a really exciting vision for the future of SMCC.
It was easy to work with Jeff in determining what this fund was going to be, how we were going to fund their legacy, because Jeff's passions have been so clear in the time that I have been here. How do we engage people meaningfully? How do we let people know that God's love surpasses the boundaries of the church? That's where we came up with the idea of the residency program in conjunction with the speaker series, because we want to be able to engage this community in that conversation through the speaker series, and we want to be able to train up the next generation of leaders to keep that conversation going. I am so excited to be a part of this conversation and of the conversation as it evolves into the future. And I'm excited for SMCC to be a leader in helping people to engage God's love both within and outside of these walls.
I've been in countless churches, and very rarely have I ever met a pastor and a couple who are as beloved and effective as Jeff and Lynn O'Grady. They have a legacy in the PCUSA that no one actually can match, and I'm so grateful that we're honoring them in this way. It's richly deserved as we pass on the faith to the next generation as Jeff and Lynn did.
I think fundamentally my wish for the future of San Marino Community Church is that it keeps going. We're in a time in which mainline churches are declining in participation, and there's so much here. It is so rich. The beauty of worship, the great music, the ideas that we wrestle with, the classes, the people. There's so much here that ought to be preserved and continued into the future.
So my hope is that people will continue to come to the table. And that's what I love about the communion table. It's that there's a place for everyone. If you don't participate and you don't come to the table, then you can't share what your gifts and talents or your ideas or your thoughts, and we may differ. We may not like everything that's served, but I think that important element of being in conversation and sharing ideas as well as a meal are so important. And so I encourage and hope for the church that they will continue to do that.
Lynn and Jeff, you leave a legacy that I am so excited that we get to carry on. It's one that is full of life because you have given to so many people's lives. You have given in ways that have been seen and recognized, but you, I know, have given in so many ways that are not known by anyone else. We are so excited for the future. So, on behalf of SMCC, but particularly on behalf of me and Andy, thank you.
Just thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done for our church community and also for Janet and me, because the efforts by both Jeff and Lynn have really made San Marino Community Church a very important part of our lives.
We wish you all the best, Jeff and Lynn. And we thank you for your years of service and devotion and friendship and all the many gifts you have given.
We were so lucky that you chose us 15 years ago, and that we got to get to know your family, and you got to get to know our families, and we got to be part of each other's lives at this moment in time. So I guess mine's very personal. Thank you. Just so grateful for knowing you all these years.
What I'd like to leave you with is that I just don't have the words.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had the words. I don't say goodbye well, and so I don't think I will say goodbye. And since we believe in eternity, we'll see you on the flip side.
Well, the first thing I want to say to the entire congregation is thank you. Thank you for the privilege and honor of being your pastor. One of the beauties of the Presbyterian Church is you get to elect your pastor. So it was your vote that brought us here, and we're so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for the ways you've cared for us while we've been here these last 15 years. This beautiful home that you provided for us with a very short commute. I'm so grateful for that. We've lived here longer than any home we've lived in since we've been married the last 41 years. So it was a great privilege, and you were so kind to provide so much space for us. What I'd like to leave you with is from the 23rd Psalm. May goodness and mercy follow you all the days of your life, and may you dwell in the house of the Lord forever.